Hi everyone from Sotaque Cruzado. Today we have got Meezy with us. Thank you so much, Meezy, for being with us today. How are
Hi
you?
everyone. I'm okay. I'm doing great actually. I'm excited for this my first interview.
Oh, we're so glad to have you. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course, anything for you.
Thanks. So let explain people, especially the Brazilian people will be listening to you, the Portuguese will be listening to you, and I would love for them to really get to know you, what you do, and the many places that you explore in life. I see you always on and around,
hmm
as per se. So please tell us, what do you do? What are your ambitions in the professional and the entertainment field?
Well, I'm an artist living in the capital of the world, so I get up to a lot of stuff. Primarily, I like to express myself through music, but I also express myself through fashion, writing, drawing, really anything that involves self-expression, which is everything. I like to be a part of it. Living in New
Okay.
York City, luckily, I get almost unlimited chances to take up stuff, for that self expression. So I do a bit of everything, to put it bluntly, but right now I'm focusing on music.
What kind of music or project are you working at the moment?
Oh, that's a good question. So my music, I like to think is genreless, even though I have a lot of inspirations. I don't necessarily follow any single inspiration that I have,
Mm-hmm.
like like hand and foot. It's not gonna be the exact type of thing. So I might make a song one day that sounds like the Weekend song, and then the next day sounds like Blink 182. So it's hard to classify my music. But essentially, all my songs, some level, is gonna reflect my experience growing up in both Nigeria, where I was born and raised for a good
Mm-hmm.
portion of my life, and New York City, and how it is navigating New York City as an alien, which is the name of my first EP.
That's so cool. And how old were you? Were you born in New York or were you raised in New York and born in Nigeria?
I was born in Nigeria. I lived there for the first 13 years of my life before moving to New York. So,
Oh, it was like
mhm.
almost what happened with me when I was 13. I moved to London. My family immigrated. Um,
Really,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got that in common. That's so great that we're discovering this now by the interview.
that's yeah. London feels like the New York of the UK. It feels like or Europe. They're sister cities in many ways.
Yeah, I feel well. I lived 2 years in New York.
hmm
It was 1 year and a half in New Jersey, and then half of the year was in New York. I
hmm
feel it's way more opportunity in New York than there is in London. I think New Yorkers, especially in the entertainment business, I feel like New York has much more open up for people that are unknown than
hmm
London. London, it's more of who do you know most of
Interesting.
the time, but it's
Yeah.
very in a high level. Like it's not like New York. New York, you can meet somebody in a bar if they feel
hmm
about you, they
Yeah.
can recommend you to things. In London, I believe English people, they take more of their time
Mm.
judging you to see whether they can actually trust you or not. So I feel that, American people overall, because I lived as
Mm.
well in Hollywood, I lived close to the beach as well in Manhattan Beach. So
Mm.
I had a bit of taste from New York and also California. And I do feel that American people, they are much more open to meet new people and, to help each other, and they don't have much of that thing of, oh, you are an immigrant, or they don't make much. Well, when I was there,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my luck, but I'm speaking of my background experience, and I do feel more comfortable in America, and I
hmm
think that's why we still have the company there as well, because it's great to do business, it's great to get around, and it's such a good vibe.
Yeah,
It's very rare for you to get a bad vibe from anyone in the entertainment business. So everybody
right.
seems to be hands on with work and happy to be a part of it, you know. This is my feeling. So you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're the proper New Yorker here.
I would say a lot of that is due to your personality.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I don't like don't sell yourself short. You know, like New York has ample opportunities. Yes, you're right on that, but unfortunately, not everyone can take advantage of everything. You know,
mhm.
so your connections that you made here are due to your personality for sure, and also you're right. The general feeling towards immigrants. I can't speak for London. I never lived there. But the feeling for immigrants in New York City, really America as a whole, but particularly New York City,
Mhm.
is one of welcome because it's a city of immigrants. Really, New York is splintered into different neighborhoods, which with different ethnic backgrounds. Right? There's like an African neighborhood. There's like Little Brazil. There's Little Italy. You know, so I don't even, as a New Yorker, I don't look at it as a weird thing if I run into an immigrant. It's almost expected. Every time I go out, I run into an immigrant or the child of an immigrant. So it's very normal. Um, and yeah, everyone is just trying to make connections, you know. So there's not going to be a lot of red tape or a lot of people blocking your blessings, you know, if you're in the right spaces. And then to put the cherry on top, if you're the type of person that is personable, which you are, I
Thank
know, I know you're, you know, you're very open and you receive people well. So
thank you.
that's gonna end up working for you. But yeah, I love New York for that reason. It's my favorite city in the world. It's the city that inspired me to be an artist.
Amazing. But I mean, apart from music, what else do you really, really enjoy and dedicate your time towards art? What is it that really gets to you that you love it as well outside of music?
I really like the New York social scene. Right? There's several social scenes in New York. So the calendar of New York is very interesting.
I believe it's extremely busy
It's
because,
it's extremely busy, and depending on what you're into,
yeah.
it's kind of like a dance throughout the year. Everyone does, right? So February comes Fashion Week. Everyone is in there. Everyone, the city just breathes fashion, right? It does all year round, but in that particular time period, you go outside and you see people in all these abstract clothing, and you can get inspiration from that. I know I do, right? So that's if you go to certain parts where it's more like there's several dishes, the garment district. If you go to the FIT areas, you see all these young kids kind of expressing themselves through fashion. And then as it gets warmer, we go into gala season. And then people are going to galas, people are doing charity work. And that's a great moment. That's a great time for networking, right? Because you meet people from all walks of life. And then there's restaurant week, and then there's the Hamptons in the
There's
summer.
restaurant week.
Hmm?
There's what? There's restaurant week, you
Yeah,
said.
restaurant. Yep, restaurant
Oh
week.
my God.
Um,
We don't
yep.
have that in London.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. I mean, New York is people say New York is 50% restaurants, and I believe it. So it's only natural for us to have restaurant week. It's a great time to just check out.
How does it work? It's like there's recommended
So
destination for certain restaurants to be visited.
so the point of it is really for all these traditionally expensive restaurants to slash their prices down. They slash their prices, so everyone can kind of attend and see what it's like to have food there, right?
Uh-huh.
So the Daniel, for example, that's a top restaurant. That's like that's a
Yeah.
Michelin star restaurant. But the average person is not going to be able to
Right.
afford a
Ex-
meal there. So somewhere like
Exactly.
that might have, I don't know if they particularly do, but somewhere like that might have a restaurant week menu,
Okay.
which is a little less pricey, but invite people to kind of partake in it. So that's fun. Everyone's out eating during this time. People are trying out new menus and stuff like that. So it's there's yeah. So there's several things like that that kind of ignite the city.
Amazing. That's so amazing. That's so cool. And how does people get hold of information? because New York really promotes it, and it gets everywhere, like online and in the papers.
That's a good question. I'm a little old school, so I had to kind of find this out just from going out. But I know at this point everything is online. In the TikTok era that we were in, everything is online. If you Google New York social calendar, I'm pretty sure there's a website that kind of gives you what's going on and what's going to happen and stuff like that. Or a timeout New York. There's a few hubs where you can find what's going on beneath the surface, you know. And if you're lucky, you can find stuff that's not even that's not posted, because those are the really fun stuff. The stuff that's quote unquote hidden. That's really when you start to get really fun and get into these awesome spaces and meet weird people.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much for the tip. See, guys, now we know what to do in New York. Because it seems like a bunch of things for us to do. And
Oh, you'll never
some
get tired.
exactly, we never get tired in New York, but also it's so funny because once you get there, it feels like you don't want to sleep because you're gonna miss out something, you know.
Right,
When you are a
right.
tourist, that's the vibe that I get. When you live there, you kind of get the hang of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're saying, it becomes really the year calendar. But
Yeah,
when you go as a tourist, you go, oh my God, where do I go? There's so much to do. So now
so
you just
much.
give us the lead of how to handle, even to book a ticket to go to New York. So guys, just look for the calendar of New York, and you're gonna be
Sure.
good to go. You're gonna do what you like to do. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for the tip.
Of course, of course. I would say take your time. You're right. There is so much to do, and you're never gonna do all of it. As someone who lives here, most New Yorkers haven't done what I've done. Most New Yorkers don't even have the time to. So
I
take your time and right, because I feel like when you come outside of New York, you appreciate it more. So you kind of do all these things. Um, but take your time. It's a different city every year, and that's the best thing about New York. That's if I can put it in a sentence, that's the best thing. Every year is a different city. It's constantly shedding its skin. The
that's
city
amazing.
itself is constantly reinventing itself. So don't be afraid to just get out there, and don't be afraid to be weird. That's another core piece of advice. Be weird. Like that's the whole point. No one is gonna look at you any give you negative looks, and even if they do, who cares? That's the whole
Exactly.
point of the city. Be weird. Yeah,
So it does have a bit of Brazil in it. Because we Brazilians, we just don't care if people are looking at to us in a
that's
weird
good.
way or if we're acting weird. We're just living life to the best. And
That's
hopefully,
good. That's a good life philosophy.
well, I take it by the books, by my own books. I deal with life like that because we are so different, and at the same time, being different can so much mean that you are such a unique person. So all you have to do is just embrace it and just go with the flow, and you just try to, balance your own flow to it. I think that's the best thing. But I do have a curiosity about you because now you're talking about the events, about the calendars. And then
Hmm.
when we go to your Instagram, we see you with so many well known people worldwide. And I'm
Hmm.
like, how does he do this? How does he have even time to be among these people? Because I know how busy you are. And I'm like, how does he do it? And how do you get to hang out with these people? Of course, you got your art and you do so
Hmm.
much. Of course, they
Hmm.
know you, but it's so fun to see you out there. How come, Kim Kardashian, the Jenners? How is it? Please tell us. Drop the tea.
So a lot of it is gonna go back to what I said earlier about learning the city. It's,
Sorry, I
it's
think we got cut up. Can you please repeat?
oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh, good.
Okay. So a lot of it has to do with learning the city, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And not being afraid to be weird. Specifically, I am producing a film about my time that you're referring to.
Oh wow.
Um, so I can't divulge too many specifics, but keep an eye out for that.
I
Okay,
will.
it's gonna be out sooner than you think, and it's
Wow.
gonna explain everything, every question you've ever had. Just follow my Instagram and wait for the announcement.
Please tell us your
It's gonna be.
handle.
Hmm?
Please tell us your handle, your
Uh,
Instagram handle.
sure. It's at Meezy on the track. Emeez, or you guys say Z, Yonthetrack.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, let's take a look on that.
Yes.
So right now there's nothing you can drop to us of how come you just being with these people and just circulating on society as the way you do. We need to wait for the movie.
You have to wait for the movie.
Oh, it's like giving me the popsicle and then telling me, "Oh no, you can only have it after lunch or dinner."
Exactly.
Not a good one.
That's a perfect analogy. Exactly.
Oh God. Okay, we will respect that. But so, how excited are you for this new project, this movie project?
It's very fun. I'm always excited to do something new. This process is very fun. It's very humbling. Every time you do something, you get a newfound respect for the people who've done it before you, right? Whether it's making a movie, whether it's writing a song, it could be anything, and it's extremely humbling. It's very hard work, but it's fulfilling work. So I can't wait to see the final product.
Wow, I can't wait
Mhm.
now either. So, is there any producer that we may know that you can drop a name? Is there
So
anyone working the
we're
music?
tr- we're trying to get some. We're still deciding who we want to be casted in the movie.
I see.
Um, Whether it's a big name like Michael B. Jordan or
Mm-hmm.
Damson Idris, or a smaller name, because it's really the story that we want to focus on, not the celebrity of it. But
I
we'll
see.
see. But the person that I'm working with has definitely been a part of big productions, so he knows his stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how long have you been working on it?
The better part of a year.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
it's second time now.
So yeah, I wish I could say more, but I'm just contractually obligated not to. But the better part of a year, and it's going great. I'm actually gonna meet up with some of my partners this week for some finishing touches, and I think the plan is to have the background stuff done before the end of the year. That way, we can just move into straight production.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. I do hope you think of me when you think about Europe and how we can advertise and push it here as well as Brazil.
of course. Is that even a question? Of
Thank you.
course,
I appreciate that consideration. You
of
know how
course.
workaholic I am.
Yes, you're an inspiration to me as well. Like, I love,
Oh, thank
we kind of connected a while ago, and I've just been able to see what you do. It's very inspirational.
Thank you. So, Sotaque Cruzado now is not only a podcast, it's also we are becoming a charity. We already
Good.
have a charity in London and we are opening in Portugal. Due to the simple fact of how it's been extremely difficult being a Brazilian in Portugal. We have
Mhm.
lots of cases. During COVID, I was studying law and
Mhm.
I finished it, and now I am some type of advertise of that, of everything that I could learn in UK about immigration rights and all sorts of things among this subject. So Sotaque Cruzado, it's a little bit more than just a podcast. We are now top 5 in Portugal. People do tend to listen to us. So thank you so much for everyone who's been with us from the start, to you who maybe is listening today on your own time. We appreciate you listening to us and supporting us, but I do think that it's important to bring some type of questions as well when we chat here. So, my question to you now will be, how do you feel being an immigrant? Because you also migrated very early, as we
Mm-hmm.
spoke on this start of that.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel growing up not in your country? And how
Mm-hmm.
do you feel when you go back home? How does it translate in your mind and your feelings?
Um, when I first moved here, luckily I'd already been to New York and the US a few times. So
Mm-hmm.
the land wasn't super foreign to me, but there was definitely still a culture shock.
Okay.
New York is the best place I could have moved to because like I said earlier, it's a place of immigrants. Granted, when I went to high school, which I went straight to high school, I was around a lot of, native born New Yorkers, and there was probably some teasing going on just because you're different.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer you stay and you find your tribe, and if you have a good foundation, like my family is just amazing at helping me be confident. So luckily I have that going for me. And once you find your tribe, you kind of let all the other stuff wash away. So yeah, it's definitely tough in the beginning, especially if you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as soon as you get to know people and you're a genuine person, genuine people will find you. And I think that's probably the same for everywhere else, you know. Um, so that was how it felt growing up here. When I do go back to Nigeria, it feels a little weird because at this point I've spent more time here than there.
Mm-hmm.
So New York feels more like a home to me. So when I go to Nigeria now, it feels like I'm visiting.
Yeah, I can understand
So
that.
so
Do
that's
you feel
that's a
like
little weird.
mixed? Or do you really feel like New York is home, home? Or do you feel like, because sometimes when I go to Brazil, especially to Rio, I
Hmm.
feel like half, half. I
Yeah.
still feel a connection, but I'm like, oh my God, this is home because, I still cultivate the language and everything. I am
Hmm.
the only one at home, besides my parents, that still speaks Portuguese. My brothers, they
Mm.
don't speak much Portuguese. Everything is totally in English because they don't like much. Um, but yeah, I just wonder, do you feel this half half? Do you speak your language? What language do you speak in Nigeria? What part of
E-
Nigeria you are
so
from?
e- Igbo is a language I speak, um, but my first language was English. So yeah. So even in Nigeria, I grew up speaking English. Um, do I speak Igbo with certain people? Yes, and I do understand it. But like when we go to Nigeria, there's the city right in Nigeria, but there's also the village, and in the village, people rarely speak English. So I do have to kind of speak Igbo there more often than not.
I see.
So yeah, it is kind of weird. How many brothers do you have?
I have got two brothers.
Oh, okay. Are you the youngest?
No, I'm the oldest.
Oh,
But
so
the
you were
only
like,
girl though.
huh?
But the only girl though.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I always wanted a sister.
Oh, that's cool. That's so nice. That's so nice when we have this mix. And in New York, is it easy for you to find the food that you have back home? Because New York seems to have it in every
Yes,
part of the
but it's
world.
so expensive. It's ridiculous. And
Really?
yes, and I'm sorry, but it does not taste the same as the one back home at all.
I can
It does
imagine.
not taste it. It's not as good.
Oh, wow. It happens
Yeah.
with us Brazilian people. We can find similarity, but
Hmm.
it's not the real thing.
Oh wow.
Sad, but it does get us a little bit of emotion, like, when we
What's a
see this.
popular Brazilian dish?
It's the feijoada. It's the black beans with pork meat, and then
Mm.
there is the farofa. I don't know farofa in English. I don't think we have a translation for that, but it's like grains, very small grains. I can show
Hmm.
you a picture afterwards. But feijoada is amazing. It has white rice. Sometimes there's a slice of orange as well with it, and there's
Oh,
some form of green green leaves with it. So it tastes really good when you put all together. It's amazing. What about where you're from? What's the
oof.
dish?
I'm sure you've heard of jollof rice.
Sorry?
Have you heard of jollof rice?
No.
Well, it's the go-to.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's I don't even know how it's made. I'm gonna expose myself because I can't cook, but it's really good. And then we also have eba, which is like this starch that you
Okay.
eat with your hands, and you dip it into a soup. And there are several types of soup. The most famous is probably a goosey soup,
Okay.
um, and it's really good. But I don't know, it's just back home, it's like heaven. But
Wow.
here, it's just like, it's decent, but it's just like, oh, you should come to Nigeria one time. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
My God, I've been waiting ages for that, for you to say that and say, Flavia, just come to Nigeria. But
Yeah, just
unfortunately,
come.
I have it all because I'm a foodie and I love cooking.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I do tend to get a few compliments, but I'll wait for when we meet up, and if we get the opportunity, I'll cook you something. And
I love food, so I'm gonna enjoy anything you make me. Trust me.
thank you.
Trust me.
So, talking about that, if we go around a little bit about you being this successful black Nigerian man in New York,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
how do you feel about overall racism and, people acting a little bit off, as we would say in proper British English? Do you
Hmm.
ever receive a mistreatment? um, a not very fair judgment of people. How is it for you as a black man in today?
Oh yeah. For sure. You're gonna run into. I think people call them microaggressions, and I know not everyone likes that term, but that really is a real thing. Like that, you're only gonna go through because of who you are outwardly. Your physical appearance. That's for sure a thing. Um, you need to have a good constitution, like a strong constitution, to get around that. Because I know there's some people that would just completely buckle
Yeah,
under that type of pressure, and I get it. But unfortunately, we cannot reverse time and change certain things, so it's gonna be there. In New York, it's probably less than other parts of the country because New York is a pretty liberal place. So even in a liberal place like New York, I have experienced it. Some worse than others, trust me. But yeah, you have to have a method of getting around it and just trust your method. For
yeah,
me, for me, if okay, let's say I was driving or whatever, and I came into a police officer, like I ignore all those things, and it's not to say I ignored it. I ignored it out of cowardice or just being afraid to speak up. But if it's stuff that you can brush over, then do it because otherwise you will let it ruin your day. And you don't want to give someone else the power to ruin your day because of their prejudice. Now, if it's something that shouldn't be ignored, and trust me, there are a lot of things that should not be ignored. You absolutely do have to speak up for yourself. You absolutely do have to um, let it be known that you're not the one to try that with. And
yeah,
yeah, so I think you take it case by case. There's certain things that's just like, whatever. I'm not gonna let you affect my day. And there's other things where it's like, we have to adjust this right now, right here.
yeah. I think there's a lot of especially in Portugal, I do feel that for the black people, it's extremely difficult. It is already
Hmm.
difficult for us Brazilians
Hmm.
because they have a certain idea of us, and most of the time they think all of us are coming directly from Brazil to
Hmm.
Portugal,
Hmm.
and it's not my case because I'm half Brazilian. I would say I'm half English, so
Hmm.
that's a twist that they are not ready or expected because I do feel that people through the evolution of internet and everything that it's bringing with it, I think it's the evolution of migrating more often, it's
Hmm.
been quite normal now, especially with the wars that have been happening now, and the COVID, everything. So I think it's just a pile up of things that are making people to migrate more often and not accept whatever they're living, and they try to look for work opportunities or for creation, or here in Portugal I meet so many different people because they come from so many different backgrounds, and I see why this talk is so important. And it is why I have created Sotaque Cruzado, because it means crossroads, actually,
Mm, I like
in
that.
English. Yeah. So I think the more together we get, it doesn't matter if we are migrants,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter or anything. It just matter that we are people and
Yes.
we need each other. That's the main point of these talks that we bring here to start Cruzado, because I do want people to understand that if we do the prejudgment, it's not good at all, because it blocks our blessings, even for us to work or for us to feel as a good person. Because I think there's no better feeling when you go to sleep and you go, okay, I did good. I
Hmm.
didn't kill anybody. Although I
Right.
had thoughts, but I
Right.
didn't do
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I was a better person because I didn't do it.
Exactly.
I didn't
Exactly.
rob nobody, I just did my thing, and God forgive me of my thoughts, but I
Hmm.
know as well He's proud that I didn't commit any of the Moses judgment that He put there, that it's not good for us.
Yeah.
So, I just think that it's so important for us to use the online to not only show the glamour that we may get at times. And we understand, I have been in the entertainment business for so many years now,
Hmm.
almost 19 20 years now. So I have seen so much in California. I worked at Warner Bros. I worked for quite a few people as well, and
Hmm.
I could see so much. And I still see it through the worlds that I live in, like Brazil, UK, Italy, France, here now in Portugal. And I do want people to understand that this has to go away, because we as women as well, who they are listening to us now, they also find so much difficulties to get ahead. I myself, as a businesswoman, it's so hard. You have no idea. We have to show up much more than
Yeah.
there were a man asking for opportunities.
Right.
So I'm really glad that we are having this talk now with everyone listening to us,
Hmm.
because they can get the vibe from around the world. And you are in New York, such an important city in the worldwide map, and they
Hmm.
get a feeling. So, towards women, how do you feel it is on the entertainment business? Do you feel what I'm talking about? Do you think it's still happening over there, or do you think it's more, I don't know, more covered up, or it doesn't happen? What are your vision towards that?
Well, it's hard for me to say because I'm not a woman, but what you're saying totally makes sense to me. That it would, women would have to have their own unique uh, obstacles to overcome in this business. I can 100% see that. What I can say is you're seeing a lot of female recognition now, which I love, right? You're seeing a lot of female artists come out and they're doing a great job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost every song I find these days is by a woman, and like all the favorite songs that I like, when I look it up, like, oh, who sings the song? It's usually like a girl. So I
Wow.
think I think we're stepping in the right direction, even though yes, we still have roadblocks to overcome. I think we're stepping in the right direction. I do believe that's a good note to conclude on, because I think the point that you made is astute. Like it's literally the whole point of everything is to be a good person, and that's why I said earlier that you shouldn't let someone's bigotry uh, trick you into doing something out of character, you know, because that's their problem. If somebody has a certain notion of you or a certain feeling towards you that you didn't ignite within them, that's their problem for them to deal with, right? So I do think we're moving in the right direction, and I think that if you're a good person, that will ultimately solve everything. Just be a good person, and let them, you know, because every generation, I feel it comes close. The world gets smaller, right? There's much more migration, like you said. There's much more. The internet brings us closer together. As much as it shows a lot of ugliness that we have as a world, there's also a lot of beauty in it. So I think I'm an optimist. I think we're headed in the right direction. I wish I could talk more, but my battery is literally about to die right now.
Sorry. So if you could quickly just leave a message for somebody who is starting now, who have decided, because I understand how difficult it is for somebody to decide to be an artist, what would you be saying to this person today, please?
Hold on one moment. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Um, what I would say is be yourself. Art is all about self-expression. So the less you hold back, the better your art will be. You know, if you're trying to hide, which is normal, you know, we're not usually okay with being naked, you know, so it's normal to want to hide. But the more naked you are, the better your art will be.
Okay.
Because the reason for that is because now people can kind of fall into your world a little better, right?
True. Makes sense. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Easy, and speaking with us. We love you and
I love
wish
you
you
too.
best with your projects, with everything you're doing. I'm so proud to know you, and
You're sweet.
yeah, I just appreciate everything you do. I love your music. I love everything you show me so far. So please keep going, because I'm sure you're gonna touch lots of lives. You are
Oh
amazing.
wow.
Thank you.
Thank thank you so much for this. Really is the highlight of my day. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank
And
you.
just one last thing, my TikTok for those listening is Meez Planet. So
Yes,
MEEZPLANET. And thank you so much. And I'll definitely be in touch and let you know about all the things coming.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you guys for
Bye.
listening to us. Bye.